Under the cover of night, a profound shift in military posture is underway. Several of the world's most advanced and feared aircraft, the B-2 stealth bombers, have lifted off from their home at Whiteman Air Force Base in Missouri. These bat-winged machines, nearly invisible to radar, are now slicing through the skies, heading west across the vast Pacific Ocean. Their destination is not publicly confirmed, but strategic analysis points towards Guam, a key American military hub. This is not a routine training exercise. It is a deliberate, powerful message from President Trump, a clear signal that the United States is positioning its most formidable assets as tensions with Iran reach a boiling point. The world is watching and waiting. The decision to move these bombers is a significant escalation in a high-stakes geopolitical chess game. Defense officials have been tight-lipped, confirming only that this deployment provides the president with ready and lethal options. No strike order has been given, they say, but the implication is unmistakable. The ghosts of the sky, as these bombers are sometimes called, are now closer to the Middle East than they have been in months. Their presence dramatically shortens the potential response time for any military action President Trump might choose to authorize. Every hour they fly closer, the pressure on Tehran mounts, forcing a calculation of risk and consequence on a global scale. This maneuver is a direct result of ongoing and intense deliberations within the highest levels of the U.S. government. Inside the White House Situation Room, President Trump has been meeting with his top military advisors all week, poring over detailed attack plans and intelligence reports. The movement of the B-2s is a physical manifestation of those tense discussions. It transforms theoretical options into tangible military readiness. The world now holds its breath, wondering what the next move will be and whether these silent warplanes are a tool of deterrence or the prelude to a devastating conflict that could reshape the Middle East. The logistics of such a deployment underscore its seriousness. Flight tracking data, though limited due to the secretive nature of the mission, has revealed a complex support operation. Multiple KC-135 Stratotanker refueling planes have been spotted over the Pacific and near the strategic island of Diego Garcia. This indicates that the military is preparing for long-duration sorties, ensuring the B-2s can remain airborne for extended periods and strike targets deep within enemy territory if commanded. This is not just a show of force, it is the meticulous preparation for a potential war, and every move is being scrutinized by allies and adversaries alike. What makes the deployment of the B-2 Spirit bomber so alarming? It is the unique and overwhelming power this aircraft represents. The B-2 is not just another plane. It is the pinnacle of stealth technology, designed to penetrate the most heavily defended airspaces on Earth without being detected. Its sleek, flying wing design absorbs and deflects radar signals, allowing it to slip past enemy defenses like a phantom. This capability means it can reach targets that other aircraft simply cannot. When a B-2 is sent, it signals an intention to strike at the very heart of an adversary, leaving them with little to no warning. The true significance of the B-2 lies in the payload it can carry. It is the only aircraft in the U.S. arsenal certified to drop the GBU-57 Massive Ordnance Penetrator, or MOP. This is a colossal 30,000-pound bunker-busting bomb engineered for a single purpose: to obliterate targets buried deep underground, beneath layers of reinforced concrete. This weapon is specifically designed to destroy facilities like Iran's Fordow nuclear enrichment plant, which is built into the side of a mountain. By positioning these bombers within striking range, the United States is sending an unambiguous message. No target is safe, no sanctuary is deep enough. President Trump and his national security team understand this dynamic perfectly. The choice to deploy the B-2 is a calculated one, meant to exert maximum psychological pressure on the Iranian regime. It is a demonstration of capability that forces Iran's leaders to confront the potential for their most prized and protected assets to be utterly destroyed. The deployment serves as a powerful deterrent, aiming to persuade Iran to back down without a single shot being fired. However, it also places a powerful weapon in the president's hands, making the option of a preemptive strike more tangible and, for some, more tempting. As these bombers settle into their forward positions, the strategic calculus of the entire region shifts. The presence of the B-2s changes the conversation from if the US can strike to when and how. It provides President Trump with a credible military threat that backs up his diplomatic demands and warnings. Every flight path and every refueling operation is a carefully choreographed piece of military statecraft. The silent flight of these bombers across the ocean carries a loud and clear message to Tehran. The United States has the power to inflict catastrophic damage, and the decision to use that power now rests in the Oval Office. The American military movements are not happening in a vacuum. They are a response to a rapidly escalating shadow war between Israel and Iran that has burst into open flame. For years, these two nations have fought through proxies and covert operations. Now, that has changed. The conflict has entered a terrifying new phase of direct confrontation. In recent weeks, Israel has conducted a series of daring and destructive strikes against critical Iranian nuclear and military facilities. Iran, in a massive show of force, retaliated by launching hundreds of ballistic missiles and explosive drones at targets across Israel. The human cost of this escalation has been immediate and devastating. The Iranian attacks on Israel, while largely intercepted, have still caused immense panic and tragedy, resulting in 24 deaths and injuring nearly 1,300 people. The images of rockets streaking across the night sky have become a grim reality for Israeli civilians. In Iran, the toll from Israeli retaliatory strikes has been even higher. Official reports indicate that over 400 people have been killed, a large number of them civilians caught in the crossfire. Each attack fuels a cycle of vengeance, pushing the region closer to an all-out, catastrophic war. This new chapter of the conflict has also included the targeted assassination of high-ranking officials. Israeli intelligence agencies have claimed success in eliminating several key commanders within Iran's military leadership. These strikes are intended to disrupt Iran's command and control and weaken its ability to coordinate its proxy forces, such as Hamas and Hezbollah. However, many military analysts are skeptical. They argue that while these killings are significant blows, Iran's network of proxies is resilient and decentralized. The core capabilities of these groups are unlikely to be dismantled by assassinations alone, ensuring the violence will continue. The direct exchange of fire between Israel and Iran has shattered the fragile stability of the Middle East. What was once a Cold War has turned hot, with both sides demonstrating a willingness to absorb and inflict significant damage. The risk of miscalculation is now dangerously high. A single strike could trigger an uncontrollable chain reaction, drawing in neighboring countries and igniting a regional conflagration. The deployment of US bombers into this volatile mix adds another layer of complexity and danger, as the world watches to see if these sworn enemies will step back from the brink. As military tensions soar, frantic diplomatic efforts are underway to pull the region back from the edge of an abyss, but with little success. European diplomats have been shuttling back and forth, attempting to broker a new deal to curb Iran's nuclear program in exchange for sanctions relief. However, these talks have stalled. Tehran has shown little willingness to accept new restrictions, especially while under direct military threat. The failure of diplomacy has left a void which is now being filled by military posturing and threats of war, deepening the sense of crisis and international alarm. The international community is reacting with growing concern and division. The Arab League, representing many of the region's nations, has formally condemned Israel's military actions, calling for an immediate cessation of hostilities and a return to the negotiating table. Meanwhile, the United States State Department has taken the drastic step of issuing a Level 4 travel advisory, its highest warning. It urges all American citizens to leave both Israel and Iran immediately, cautioning that government assistance for evacuations may not be possible if a wider conflict erupts. This stark warning highlights the perceived imminence of the danger. President Trump remains at the center of this storm, weighing his options. The B-2 deployment is a key part of his strategy, designed to give him maximum leverage. It acts as both a threat to Iran and a reassurance to allies like Israel that the United States is prepared to act. The White House, however, has maintained an official silence on the specifics of the bomber deployment, refusing to comment on operational details. This deliberate ambiguity keeps all parties guessing about America's ultimate intentions. It is a high-risk strategy that could either de-escalate the crisis or inadvertently trigger the very conflict it seeks to prevent. The world is watching President Trump's next move with a mixture of hope and fear. Allies are looking for a steady hand to navigate the crisis, while adversaries are testing American resolve. The lack of a unified international response has left a dangerous power vacuum, where military action seems increasingly plausible. The B-2 bombers, now positioned for a potential strike, are a stark reminder of the stakes. The fate of the region, and potentially global peace, hangs in the balance, dependent on a series of decisions being made in Washington, Tehran, and Jerusalem. Beyond the strategic calculations and military hardware, there is a profound and growing human tragedy unfolding. The escalating violence has created a wave of fear and displacement across the region. In both Iran and Israel, the constant threat of attack has shattered the sense of normalcy. Civilians are fleeing areas targeted by strikes, seeking refuge with relatives or in makeshift shelters. For the millions of Iranians living abroad, the news brings a sickening anxiety as they watch from afar, fearing for the safety of their families back home. The specter of a full-scale war looms large, threatening to create a refugee crisis of immense proportions. The psychological toll on ordinary people cannot be overstated. In cities across Israel, air raid sirens have become a part of the daily soundscape, sending families racing for bomb shelters. In Iran, communities mourn the loss of loved ones while bracing for the next wave of attacks. This is a life lived under constant stress, where the future is uncertain and every news alert could bring word of another tragedy. The conflict is not just being fought by soldiers and with missiles. It is being waged in the minds and hearts of millions of civilians who yearn for peace and stability but are trapped in the crossfire of geopolitical ambitions. A direct war between Iran and Israel would have consequences that extend far beyond their borders. It would risk dragging in neighboring states and non-state actors, plunging the entire Middle East into chaos. Such a conflict would disrupt global oil supplies, shatter economies, and create instability that could be felt around the world. The regional concerns are immense, as leaders from surrounding nations fear being drawn into a conflict not of their making. The very fabric of regional stability is at risk of being torn apart, with unpredictable and devastating consequences for generations to come. This is why these developments matter so profoundly. The deployment of B-2 bombers and the escalating violence are not distant events on a map. They are the precursors to a potential human catastrophe. The story of this conflict is about more than just military strategy. It is about the lives hanging in the balance. Following these events is crucial because peace is fragile, and the path to war is often paved with miscalculation and aggression. The world must hope that diplomacy can prevail, for if it fails, the price will be paid not by the leaders who make the decisions, but by the ordinary people caught beneath the bombs.